Thanks for tuning into German Chocolate, Life of a Mixed Girl. I'm Jess, aka German Chocolate. And for all of you that have Spotify now see my weird face when I say that and how I move. So, hey, if you don't know what I look like, this is what I look like. And as you can see, or maybe hear in a minute, I have a guest on the show today, as promised for the VO Corner mini series. The first one, I have Kevin Kmet. Here, Kevin has been voice acting for about 3 years, and I have his website and Instagram and everything in the description if you want to check out what he sounds like, what he does, and everything. And why Kevin? Why Kevin? Because I don't even know how I stumbled across, to be honest, but about 6 months ago when I started this voice acting journey, he was one of the first 3, 4 people that I got in contact with, and he is now in the top 2 of the people that constantly still engage in my content on Instagram and that I engage in, and it's super fun, and I'm so excited. Thanks for coming onto the podcast. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, sweet. We already
Yeah.
started the conversation a little bit before we came on and exchanged some valuable information about some of the software that you should and shouldn't use and how we're doing and whether or not we like narrating audiobooks, which Kevin will find out soon, or
Yeah.
if he does like it or not. You said it's a small novel you're gonna be working on, right?
Yeah. So I have it's like a small novella kind of book. I mean, it's very thin. It's like a Cliff Notes size book. There's about 8 or 9 chapters, and each chapter is about 1,000 words each. So it's very small, but it allows me to dip my toe into the audiobook world, um, and see whether or not I like it. And so far, it's been pretty good. Um, but yeah, the way you were describing the website that you used, I'm like, that's a lot of for a full novel, that's a lot of turnaround. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that commitment because I do have a full-time job outside of voice acting still. And I just don't think I have the time to dedicate to an audio book, like full novel.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly. And mine wasn't even a novel. They were like, okay, 10,000 words. So I was Googling how long does a voice actor take to do it because I did some master classes on the narrating and things. And I mean, I think it's good that you're saying the small chapters. So this was 10,000 words, a 3 hour audiobook with a 7 day turnaround, which ended up being 14 days. We were cool because I also have a full-time job
yeah.
and a kid. So it's definitely, it was very nerve-wracking. It was more business marketing. Before I tried that out, I saw that someone else on Instagram, she does like the graphic audio, so it's more like character. And I was
Mm.
like, maybe I want to do that one day, but even though it's fun and it was kind of engaging, it wasn't like I have 3 more articles I have to do for this app that I'm voicing for, which coincidentally is also for my day job. So it was really cool that they're looking for voice actors. I was like, right here.
Yeah.
And these are articles. So like in an app, you usually read the articles and I'm narrating the articles. So these are between 2 and 6 minutes. So the
Mhm.
editing is not as extensive.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at with the chapter of the this book that I'm currently working on. Um, it's roughly around 2 to 4 minutes per chapter, and so it's the editing is much easier. I can't imagine an entire novel and just like this long. I mean, that's like when by the time you're done with it, that's like 3 hours worth of finished. It's 3 hours, so
Yep.
it's like much more editing.
I
That
can
that
tell
to me
you
that
it
could
was in total 25 hours to do everything. They say that
wow.
if it's a 3 hour book, it will take you 6 hours for narrating approximately. And then for each hour of narrating, I think it is like 2, 3 hours of editing. And then if it's the first time, and then also with the software I'm using the Adobe Audition. So thanks for the tip with the Audacity that might help with some of the mouth smacking because I really
Yeah,
went and scrolled really close, and then they're like the tiny little things. I was like, I can see them.
yeah, yeah. I don't think that people really understand once you get into voiceover or audio editing or anything audio wise. and someone's speaking, it's like, you know, we start noticing stuff like that, and it just like drives us insane because we want it to be the best product we can put out there. And yeah, most other people probably just like don't even care, but for me, I'm just like, if I hear one little like mouth clack, I'm just like, oh, it just drives me insane. Yeah.
It's so bad because I'm so perfectionistic on things too, which is a little bit my downfall with a lot of the technique. I'm like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, and then I like am so in my head. But I
Yeah.
taught for like the last few chapters, I was like, all right, I'm sorry, it just won't be the exact same standard. And so ACX also does like quality checks. So there's like certain things you have to have in order for them to accept your file. So sometimes I would upload it and they'll be like, over 0 dB. I was like, it wasn't when I downloaded it. And then they're like, uh, your RMS is 0.01 over what we want it to be from the loud level. And then finally everything's in, it's not complaining. And then I send it off. They're like, thank you for sending it off. We will now quality check your work. It could take 5 to 10 business days before you know if it's been approved. And I'm like,
Oh.
what if they say no? So the day it came in and it said, congratulations, your audiobook is done. Here's the promo codes you can send. And I was like, I wanted to pop open the bottle of anything at the moment.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's a big that I yeah, that a big relief. I can't imagine waiting 5 days for a project that large to get the thumbs up. Like, oh man, it would drive me insane.
On a personal note, you were on your Insta story. I saw that you and your wife were going to like a convention or like a Comic-Con or something. So
Mhm.
where did you guys go to? And biggest question, did you go for the voice actors and did you interact?
Oh yeah. So, um, we went up there because we've been going to anime conventions since, well, she's been going since 2003. I've been going since 2005. Um, she goes for cosplay because she actually makes costumes for musical theater in the city, and she loves costumes. So we went up there. Her and her friend cosplayed. I just kind of carried all of their stuff in my
She didn't
book
make you a
bag.
costume or you don't
Yeah.
want to wear it? Because she makes great
Yeah,
costumes.
yeah, she's great. I didn't want to cosplay that weekend, so I didn't because I was there to focus on the voiceover stuff. And there was one voice actor there that I wanted to meet really badly because he's probably my favorite voice actor, who's Johnny Young Bosch. He's Ichigo from Bleach. He's Vash the Stampede from Trigun, and a lot of other stuff as well. But I didn't get the chance to meet him. The convention was kind of not really well put together because of COVID and all this stuff. It was like the first year that it came back, and it just like they didn't have like a good even on their website, like a good listing and times of when he would be there to autograph stuff.
Oh man.
So I just kind of like missed out on all of it. But um, we were walking around the dealer hall, and I don't want to say the person's name because then I don't want people to flood to their account
Oh,
and
okay, yeah, I hear you.
start, asking them for advice. Um, but I met someone, a voice actor, uh, and I went up to them and I said, "Hi, my name's Kevin, and I'm a voice actor. I'm saying this not to brag, but just to, let you know that I've done a bigger job, and so that I'm serious about this. I'm not,
I hear what you
and
mean. Everybody is a
yeah,
voice actor in right now, right? So
right,
yeah.
right. So I was like, I'm the voice of Velric in Final Fantasy Brave, Exvius, War of the Visions, and they said, "Oh, I'm this character in that game," and I was like,
No
"Oh,"
way.
because it wasn't on their banner, and so we started talking, and they were a really nice person, and we connected online, and they asked me for my info, and they connected with me, and I'm just like completely flabbergasted at the amount of help this person has already given me. And it's what I want to do in the future for people, that if I can get, again, I'm not saying that I'm gonna make it into the world of anime and be this like big anime actor or video game actor. I don't know. It's a lot of work. I could just
Yep.
do that one Final Fantasy job, and that's my claim to fame for the rest of my life. That could happen.
Even though I
But
don't believe it, you're super
yeah,
ambitious. So it might. It's.
I,
I
I
think it's not a if, it's a when time. But I hear what you're saying.
right. Yeah, but yeah, it's I appreciate that. And yeah, I definitely want to be able to help people who are in my shoes right now when I'm in bigger shoes in the future. And yeah, so it ended up being, even though I didn't get to meet Johnny Young Bosch, I met this other person, and it was it was awesome. It was awesome. I don't even know how to describe it.
That's like
So
the best case scenario because I'm always like, oh, everybody's probably flooding so and so. And I was thinking the same. I went to the Central Florida Comic Con and I was like, you know what? I'm going to volunteer just to be around the people, like see the backscene of it. Maybe I'll be able to, roam around a little freer. And it was a little chaotic too. And I didn't really know a lot of the voice actor because it was a smaller one too down here. And it was hilarious because there was a voice actor who was coincidentally looking for his booth. And I was just kind of guiding and directing people with my like yellow staff shirt. And he was really like so silly and awkward in a way. And like he was like, "Oh, I don't know where to go. Where's my person?" Like, and I was like, I looked him up, and I was like, "Here, your booth is over there." And then like a couple of hours later, he was standing like right here. He's like, "Hey, are you still standing where you were standing before?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is. Like, why are you asking me?" I was like, "Yeah, because I can't find my booth again." I was like, "Oh, I heard some people earlier say your name. You're the milkshake on that one show or whatever." He's like, "Yeah," because earlier I was like, I was just standing there, so I didn't want to say, "Hey, I'm like a beginner voice actor. It's so cool to meet you." So I was just like, who do you voice or something? I said, just in the rush of everything. And he was like, and like walked off. He didn't even say anything. So that
wait,
was
so
my only experience.
did you find out who it was, or what he
Yeah,
was?
Dana Snyder. So he was like, I found him on Instagram too. I was like, oh, here goes nothing. Remember the girl? You were like, hey, can't find my whatever. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
really hard when you're trying to connect with people that are either not really a lot on Instagram or have that filter for, they're people that are not in their primary. So never seen my message, but it would have been fun.
Yeah. So wait, so it was the guy, is that the guy that does Master Shake
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Master
yeah.
Chief? Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
one. So you know him. I didn't. I saw
Yeah.
people like say his name, and then later when they told me who it was, I saw someone had a T-shirt on with it, and then like I went home and I checked it out. I was like, oh, that's a cool character.
Yeah, that guy's like big time, like prime time TV, like Cartoon Network. He does stuff on Fox, for he's probably been in episodes of Bob's Burgers and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I saw
he's got,
a lot of like wonky, quirky characters on there too, but like
yeah,
I didn't know like his name. Usually if I like something specific, I'll go look, ooh, who's the voice actor for this? But that wasn't on my radar. Like, my dream thing is like I'd love to be on like adult like animated shows like, Inside Job that's on Netflix or Big Mouth from Nick Kroll, like stuff like
oh
that.
yeah,
He's so cool. And I saw like this is like the genre. I was like, that would have been the perfect person to just kind of mingle and talk. On
yeah.
that note, what is your ultimate dream goal to do? You kind of touched on it with the anime thing, but what is the one thing that sparks your motivation?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was asked this question before on a friend's on another podcast that my friend runs. And I gave him the answer of just being like, yeah, I want to be like the lead in, an anime or something, like I want to be the Naruto or the Ichigo or, like the main character in like a massively popular anime. And and then they were like, "Oh, well, how come like what about like being Homer Simpson in like something bigger?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I guess, I don't know, I didn't think of that." So, but yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think that I have a goal, because when I achieve a goal, I set another goal, and it's
Hmm.
almost like I'm never happy and I never want to slow down. Um, but I mean, yeah, I guess like if it, long, long answer short, yeah, just like lead role in an anime, so that, like I said, so that you know I can inspire people.
And that is the
You know,
hardest genre anyways. I mean, I grew up on Sailor Moon. Like for me, I legit like got my friends to play Sailor Moon with me, even friends that were older. Like I've been told on radio like before, like the way you say things makes people believe it. And it always worked back then too, not in a manipulative way, but more in a like inspiring way. So I was like looking at nature in a different way and everyth's magical. Like super
yeah,
cheesy a little bit, but Sailor Moon's like my thing. And Katie Lee, she's a voice actor, and um I did like a workshop with her and I looked her up for other things she did because she usually lists like, hey, I'm the voice of your childhood like animations and things. And I saw that she got to voice like this like Sailor Mouse kind of character. I was like, oh my God, you got to be like on like a Sailor Moon thing. And yeah,
yeah,
it would be nice to do something like that. But I think what changed from how we grew up and how it's now, you might notice when you talk to friends, it's not like, hey, did you watch the episode of The Big Bang Theory or something? Because it's not like the prime time what's on Fox, NBC that people watch anymore. You have all these streaming platforms that all have original shows. Then you have YouTube and TikTok. So nobody really watches the same things anymore. So the likelihood of a bunch of people like with Naruto and like Pokemon to for it to be that big is harder. Even though in anime it's probably easier because through my son he loves like Demon Slayer and like
yeah,
My Hero Academia and stuff, and that is really big. You see it everywhere. So I watch the stuff. We watch Black Clover right now, and I'm like, so I get that. So I like also your approach that you say you don't have that one dream, and then that's like the one because a lot of times you work towards it, and then you branch off into like different areas, and you realize you might be
mm,
better, or that might be like where it takes off. So it's also not discouraging to keep your avenues open. So I don't have anything specific either, but definitely for me, just to
yeah,
be in like an animated series. And then you were saying 5, 10 year plan. Also, I have a 10 year, 15 maybe year plan. I would love to be in a Disney or a Pixar because my whole journey started with singing, and if I could mix it together, and I want to create emotions for people. That's why voice acting and regular acting's cool too, the theater acting, but it's so different. And I want to be like that voice that causes the emotion for somebody. It's so inspiring.
yeah, yeah. And I've never acted ever, like on stage or as a kid or in high school or anything. Um, but what's weird to me, because I listen to another podcast that a voice actor runs, Crispin Freeman. It's called Voice Acting Mastery,
Ooh.
and he interviews other voice actors. And he'll always, it's just like what you're doing with me right now, where it's like, where did you start, or what's your beginnings, and this and that. And even Crispin himself, uh, a lot of them, like more than half, come from a theater background. And so to me, it's like theater and anime go, like, these are anime voice actors I'm talking about. Like theater and anime actually go like hand in hand. And part of me, maybe when the summer hits and the weather gets warmer and I'm willing to leave my house a little bit more and drive around, like find some sort of adult theater classes just to open myself up, be able to perform in that way. Because when my wife works in theater, like I had said, and we go see theater occasionally, and you see these people and they remember all of their lines. They're not,
Hmm.
as a voice actor, we're sitting in a booth with a paper in front of our face, right? And they have to like remember their lines day after day, plus on top of it dance moves,
Hmm.
and they have to act, and they have to like do it all convincingly. And like, to me, theater acting, if you can even be halfway decent at that, it will help you tremendously as a voice actor. That's just kind of what I picked up through Crispin Freeman's podcast.
That's really
But
interesting that you say they do have that
yeah,
in their background because like my favorite one is Joey Zia. I mean, everybody probably follows him. Like he is like on YouTube also everywhere. He's like tons of hundreds of thousands of followers doing like all kinds of voices and things. I really love him and his approach, but he comes from a military background. He has no background and he is really good. And I think what intrigued me about yours is that not only do you do really good voices that also sound convincing, it's like you do act in it already. So you have, what maybe some other people at the beginning, if they don't have a theater background, still have to learn the acting part of voice acting. So everybody can
yeah,
always learn. I'm always learning too. And I have a theater background and I did have to do the singing and dancing because they were all musicals and learning the lines for like 3, 4 months after work. It was a part-time job at that theater and it was a community theater, but they did charge and it was like 2,000 seats and they were always full in the summer. So January we started rehearsing and depending on what it was, they would bring an acting coach in, then a vocal coach for singing, then we would have choreographies and if it was like fencing, people would have to learn fence or something. So it was super extensive. And with the lines, I also never thought I could do it. And the whole improv, like if you forget, somebody else forgets, somehow you need to keep the scene going because the people are going to notice. Because as soon as you break character, it's gonna ruin everything. So to me, going on stage was always really like the 2 hours before I was really tense. I don't know how I made it through everything, and then afterwards we would take a shot, and then I'd be fine. That's why I prefer this in here. I'm reading it, but now I'm doing the mistake. I'm reading it, and a lot of people tell me, don't read it. And I'm actually taking this really, really good class, a voice acting class with the Howard Fine Acting Studio from LA.
oh man, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually pretty affordable for the fact that you get David Curry in there, and he is mind blowing. If you ever want to take something where they really focus on your acting and your voice, it's not like any of the workshops or anything you take. He legit the first class lectures and really teaches you. And he's like the vowels and your face. And if you do these hand movements, it sounds different and how you can stand out in auditions. And then you have assignments and then he critiques them and then you speak in voices. So he it's phenomenal. Out of everything I've done, I've just in awe, and I want to take more classes whenever they become available. But I had to think of you. Sorry, I'm like trying to get everything in. But have you
You're
heard
good.
of Real Voice LA, the things they do? Because
Um,
they're
I,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
follow them on Instagram, but I I never really I haven't like looked into them yet.
For you, I
Like
think that would be something really cool. I did a few of them, and once I'm done with all the other classes, I'm taking improv classes online right now and that character class. And then they do it was on Mondays with Matthew Rudd, and now he does it on Thursdays, I think. You gotta check, but it's only $30 and you go in and it's usually like 6 to 8 people for I think 2 hours and like you have the script and then you just go for it like you go for an audition and then he like directs you and you can just practice with people and there were people also in there that are in anime that just come to refresh their skills so you're together with people that have been in the business for years and like newer people so if you ever want to just do like a cheap thing I had to think of you because that's something I think you would really like doing.
yeah, send it to me in on Instagram in
Yeah,
the
it's the
DM.
VO
Yeah.
workshop. That I mean, that's the best $30 spent on my advertising like crazy. But this
Yeah,
is really
no,
cool.
for $30, everybody should bust out a pen right now and write this down,
I
whoever's
know, but
listening, right?
I want to keep it a secret so it's not so full. But
Yeah.
speaking of that, it was interesting because on Casting Call Club, the I found you on a project I auditioned for, and you ended up getting it.
Yeah.
And I think he hadn't casted any of the others because it's still open for all the other roles except for yours.
Yeah. So he's actually having issues with it just because it is a fan dub and those are, relative, they're not when you try to upload a fan dub on YouTube or any other streaming platform, they
Oh,
take them down because it's like legal reasons. So I at this point I think that the project isn't even gonna work.
I've learned
So
that with so many projects, or they just take a really long time because I did get cast for like a few things, and then because they're passion projects, people get busy, stuff happens, and you're like, "Hey, I send
mhm.
you lines, is it ever gonna?" And then you don't even hear back. They don't even like tell you if they stopped it or anything.
Yeah.
But I do love it because you can practice. So I know you have like an animation reel. I just have a commercial one, so I have all the samples like on my website from the things just to have something on there. But you posted something on Instagram saying, "Hey, you like haven't really taken enough advantage of Casting Call Club, and this year you really want to hone into it." So how has it been so far since you've been back on the platform?
Oh, it's great. So what I did was I paid for the membership, which is like 180 for the year. That allows you to message as many people as you want and view other people's profiles and see who's viewed yours and all these other things that you're not able to do with the free one. And then I also signed up through their partnering company. They partner with Closing Credits, which is a school. And their membership, I bought the most expensive one, which was $500 for a year, but
Ooh,
they give you 50 credits and you use the credits to then pay for the classes. So I went through voiceover 101, which was 10 credits. And then the next one I'm going to take is 201 and then 301. So there's like the three voiceover classes through them. And altogether, it costs uh, 50 credits. So basically, for my $500, I'm getting all three voiceover classes that they offer. And the first one is only 6 weeks. But then voiceover 201 and 301, when it gets more advanced and the
yeah.
classes become smaller in size, those are 12 weeks each.
Yeah, that
So,
I signed up for the I've signed up for closing credit too. That's why I was curious
yeah.
if that's what you did because I once like
Mhm.
saw you posted something and I was like, oh, this doesn't look like a submission, but I didn't click on it. So I was wondering. I signed up for the 201 and now it makes me feel like, oh my God, if you're signed up for one-on-one, should I have signed up for it? Was it worth taking one-on-one? Because I'm starting the 201 in March.
Yeah. So, I mean, for 201, it was more just like a lecture of like how to, um, you know, as a voice actor, what to look out for, because you have to, you are your own business and you have to watch out for
Mm.
yourself. So they're kind of telling you that and showing you how to like, look out for yourself. They're also teaching things. And then the submissions that you said you saw on my account, that was for at the end of each class, they would be like, okay, go on the website. We have this monologue that we want you to read and record and upload, and
Hmm.
then we'll give you feedback on it.
Sweet with
And so,
assignments too. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. So there were assignments, and no matter what, like even 101, your teacher isn't your other teacher, who isn't your other instructor. They all have different opinions on things, and it's always good to take those opinions and with a grain of salt and just kind of
Hmm.
form your
Yeah.
own and kind of just so you're always going to learn something new, regardless if it's 101 or 301 or 801, right?
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, I mean, like, I have it written in my calendar. Something happened and I cannot prove it, unfortunately. And I did not I did not get signed up into the 201 class, which starts on like March 3rd. And so now I'm not sure how long they're going to wait to open more classes.
Hmm.
So I hope I don't have to sit here for like 12 weeks and wait for this round of 201 to be over, because I like, basically for $500 for 30 weeks of classes,
Yeah.
30 weeks of classes, and each class in 201 and 301 are like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Like that's like one of the most affordable voice acting courses you can possibly do.
Oh,
Eat for 500 bucks.
100%. That's why I was
Yeah,
also like, I like closed my eyes. I was like, it's an investment. It's not like you just, I mean, you are spending money at the beginning on your equipment. Some of the stuff I already had from like singing and stuff before, but definitely like the mic. Then I got the, I got the Shure at first, and that one actually works horrible in a regular booth because it
yeah,
picks up everything and the voice somehow not as much. I don't know how all these other great podcasters are doing it. I got like a dynamite stick for it to amp it, and so then I went with the Rode, and that one's been working better. But Yeah, all this equipment and the classes, but whenever you do hear like I don't know if you attended some of like the events where the voice actors talk from closing credit, like the hustle of voice acting or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody will always tell you to, I almost forgot. Everybody will always tell you to not be cocky and just get started, which I never would. Like we were talking about, if you have background in acting or not, it's something completely different. And no matter what
Mhm.
background you have, unless you actually act it, voice act it, there's you need to take some sort of class. And like everyone, I think we all took some kind of coaching at the beginning that was way overpriced, but it was still worth the experience and the journey. So this is definitely like closing call credit is definitely worth it. So I'm crossing my fingers that that turns out to not be, you know, a loss on that, because I think they really do only have the those select like weeks with that 201. I'm also taking the audio engineering for voice actors because of, you know, what we talked about, the smacking the here,
Yeah.
and how can I maybe get more efficient with it, and how can I work my room a little
Mhm.
bit better. So that's that's crazy. There's so much going on. So but for this year, what's your like approach? Like for me, as an example, I made like small quarterly goals. I'm like I'm a project manager in the real world, and so I'm really like organized and managing it as project. I have like my audition tracker, project tracker, and I go with it. So I set quarterly goals of things are that are in my control that I want to do and something I'd like to achieve. So for me, it was like going on a convention, taking certain classes if I want to do another demo reel or things like that. And then from there, build on other goals. So I don't have what you said at first, one big goal, and then you get lost in it. So what's
Right.
2022 like for you on your like list?
Um, 2022 is just about I want to take I want to use Casting Call Club as much as I can, and I want to utilize it for everything that it offers because it is, in my opinion, one of the better um, affordable
Yeah.
websites and reputable websites that you can use to get started, or even just advance your level, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that, and just the biggest thing for me is just keep doing what I'm doing and network. Talk to people. Do not be afraid to ask questions. The worst that can happen is that they say no.
Yep.
Um,
Or not answer
like
it, but that's the worst.
right, yeah. But I mean, like again, at the convention, I met this voice actor, and it worked. You know, like it is the like I'm being helped, and they don't have to, but they are, and it's a to me right now. It's a game changer, and I have friends. You know, put yourself out there. Let your family and friends know. People who don't do that. People who are afraid to tell their friends or their family, extended family, or whatever, coworkers that they're like, oh, I want to be a voice actor. Like they're too shy because like people they don't want to be made fun of or something. Do it because
Yeah, I agree
I
100%.
I just I don't want to like say I'm not going to say too much about it. And it's not even a sure thing. It's like a 90% thing right now. So I could
But
jinx
you're
this,
smirking for everyone that can't see he's smirking.
but it's a potential not anime, not video game voiceover job, TV related that uh, could be in syndication. And so I would basically be like the intro voice of the show, being like, you know, on Good Morning America, like this, whatever, like, you know, today, like,
You
what,
have that
I don't know.
voice. It's so like comforting. I could totally see that.
But yeah, so it's like, I'm hoping that goes through. And, you know, it, it's just take what you could get always. And I got it because I put my name out there and someone was like, hey, I have an acquaintance who needs a voiceover for this thing. Here's their info. Message them. So I emailed this person. They got back to me right away, and it was just all word of mouth. It was all networking. All
That's like I
because
can't
yeah,
wait to get out and like network more. This whole like trying to reach out over creepy Instagram or something. But I I do as well. And what you say, I'm not scared to tell people because this is not nothing to be ashamed about. Even if people were like, "Oh, it's just a phase or whatever," which it's not. Sorry, but yeah, that's how it happened at work. And they sent it out, and people were encouraging me. Then there was at work in a channel on Slack I wasn't in. They were asking for someone to be like the voice, the person for the company and in an ad in another country. And they were like, "Hey, Jess, it's up your alley." And I was like, "Hey, I'm available." And then next minute I'm shooting an ad and I'm like, "Yay." So it's so cool. And the whole reaching out thing, I'm still waiting to hear back on the end part of it. I think they're really busy, but I saw on Upwork this independent production studio. They made a really fun adult animation and they were looking for male voice actors. And I clicked on their website and it looked so cool, so fun. It's like whales with legs as their website and it's like welcome to Melville. It's super cool. And I was like, oh, male voice actors. And you can't write anyone on Upwork if you're like not actually proposing. So I'm searching for them everywhere. And I'm on Instagram like, hey, are you looking for female voice actors by any chance? I love this. This is exactly what I want to do. And then they don't get back forever. And then they're like, oh, so sorry. We haven't been on Instagram forever. Actually, my buddy that like was voicing like some of the male ones, that's also the co-producer and founder of it, voiced this bartender. She's like a busty like whale woman, and they couldn't find the right voice. And they already did the first pilot. They're nominated for some awards or whatever. And then he immediately writes back, "Oh, we checked your demo. Your voice is probably perfect. Can you like send us like this and this line from there? And could you make it so the voice flap like fit, like dub it so we can see if it matches?" And I had so much fun doing it like all day. I was like in the car. I was like, "Hey, hot cocks, you ready for another round?" And I was like, and I'm recording it, and I'm like in the video editor on Microsoft, like moving because on the software, the dubbing feature is really wonky. It didn't really work the way it's intended to, so it took forever. And then I didn't hear back, and I'm like, "Hey, I sent it by email." And then I saw eventually they like read it on a day where they had an award show or something. I was like, ah. So then I just reached out 2 weeks later. It's like, hey, just feedback. I don't know. I know you already said you couldn't find the right voice. So if it wasn't, it's fine. But feedback, but they haven't read it yet. And that would be, I absolutely love that. So I hope eventually they do still read it and they're like, oh, snap. We forgot because they said they were gonna dub it into the first episode and then I could be part from there on to be one of those regular voices on that series that they're trying to get on the network. So that's like the one thing where the universe hopefully responds to.
Yeah, but that's the type of networking and grinding and stuff that you need to do. You know, you need to like think outside the box of just, I need to audition for this job, and if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. It's like there's so many other ways to find work. It's hard, but it works. You know, or you know, there's the possibility of working. It doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, I saw
But yeah,
Kayla do
it's
it too. She saw some like a character from a really popular YouTube animation. She's like, "Oh, it's so cute. Can I voice her?" And then she got the part, and it's like one of those millions of followers. Like sometimes it really does work, and like you said earlier, the worst they can say is no. So I believe in
right.
that too. It's just finding it. People say they use Twitter a lot. I can't really get into it. I tried every once in a while, but I don't know. How do you find? Do you find
Yeah.
work on Twitter?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I find auditions on Twitter. I'm not sure that I've actually, yeah, I did get a job on Twitter recently. Um, it's like a video game on this website called newgrounds.com.
Ooh,
And it's like newgrounds.com is a website full of animation. That's actually, now that I think about it, I just blew my own mind. That would be a great place for voice actors to go and just message creators maybe and be like, hey, I'm a voice actor and I really love your animation. I really love these characters. Like, can I help you with a voice? And you might have to do it for free or very little pay, but at
yep.
least you're building your resume and your video demo reel of original content. Because a lot of these cartoons that are on Newgrounds, they're flash animation, and there's also video games on there. And I've actually been a fan of this website for like 20 years. And then I like
Wow.
never, yeah, like I used to be on it a long time ago. And then I kind of just, it's one of the ones that I'm like, oh yeah, remember newgrounds.com? Ha, that was funny. And then I saw this audition, and I auditioned, and I got the job, and as like a villain in this video game. And so, yeah, Twitter works sometimes. I don't like being on Twitter. It's so like toxic and gross.
I know. I can't do it either. But
Yeah,
that's why I like a lot of the people that were like talking from the closing credits, like one of the events, they say, well, that's where all the directors and like all the people are and people looking and the indies. And I don't even know, like you would think there would be way more space for these like indie productions that are popping up everywhere because of the streaming platforms to be there,
yeah,
but they're so hard to find those indie projects.
yeah. I mean, you just got like you can even Google like you know uh, indie developers, like top 10 indie developers or whatever, or top 100 indie developers, and there will be like a list of all the top 100 indie game or indie animation developers, and you just go one by one, and you can email them very politely, and with your demo reel or animation reel or video reel or whatever you got, and even a resume maybe, and just email them and be like, hi, I'm a voice actor, and I really love your work. Don't, don't make it about you. Don't make
Yeah.
it like I'm a voice actor and I'm looking for work, and I was wondering if I can do a voice for your thing. It's more like, I really like your work. So before you email them, go on their website and look at what they've
Oh,
done and be like,
definitely.
oh, this is cool. So yeah, and just be like, I really like your work, and I would really love to work. I would really love to work together. And here's my resume and my video animation reel. And if you have any voiceover spots, I would love to work together because your stuff is great, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Use
agree
like
with the whole, you got
rambling,
to be
but
really careful with the because that's not what it's about. It's
yeah,
about how can you help them, not how can they help you. You hear that a
right,
lot too. So that's yeah, super super interesting.
yeah.
Man,
But yeah, you could just like basically it's like cold calling,
yeah.
the developers or production companies, and the worst they could do is never email you back.
Exactly, which is fine.
Yeah,
You could be ghosted, but if you like ask so many people, you'll even remember who you
exactly, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. Well, I
So,
did take a lot of your time, but it's so much fun talking, and I wish this was almost like a regular thing because I could just keep on going.
yeah, I mean, whenever you want me back on, or if you want me to come back on in the future, like, just let me know. I don't know. I'm here.
Cool.
So,
So for everyone out there, before you leave,
yeah.
um, thanks for tuning in and be on the lookout for what's next, who's next, or whatever else.